I was little, Diddy took me to a mansion and did very bad things to me. Diddy ruined my childhood. Diddy said, "Sell me Haley. I will give you a good amount of money." I wanted to expose everything.
You're not ready for what just came out in the Diddy trial? Because while the headlines focused on Cassie, on the video leaks, and on the sickening testimonies pouring into the courtroom, no one expected Justin Bieber's name to show up. For years, fans have whispered about Justin's connection to Diddy, the parties, the mentorship, the photos. But now, under the heat of federal charges and mounting accusations, Justin's silence has finally broken. And what he revealed might just flip everything we thought we knew. So what did Diddy really do to Justin? Why is this only coming out now? And how deep does this whole twisted network really go? Stay with me, because the next few minutes will uncover what's really happening behind the cameras, the money, and the headlines. And believe me, this gets darker than anyone imagined. At first, it looked like just another celebrity scandal, another headline people would scroll past. But what's happening in that Manhattan courtroom isn't just about fame. It's about a decades-long operation allegedly built on manipulation, abuse, and power. Federal agents didn't raid Diddy's homes with helicopters and armed SWAT teams for no reason. This isn't tabloid noise. This is RICO, the kind of case they use to bring down drug cartels and organized crime families. And at the center of it all, Sean Diddy Combs, music mogul, fashion icon, and one of the most influential figures in hip-hop history. He's now accused of sex trafficking, bribery, racketeering, and orchestrating violent assaults. According to prosecutors, Diddy didn't just participate in illegal acts. He allegedly designed and maintained a system that exploited, filmed, and silenced victims. More than 100 lawsuits have piled up since late 2023. Civil suits, federal investigations, eyewitness testimonies. And most damning of all, his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura's lawsuit, which ripped open the door to a world many suspected, but few were brave enough to describe. But as ugly as that sounds, it was only the beginning. Because what came next involved drugs, cameras, celebrities, and a whisper network of people too scared to speak, until now. When Cassie Ventura stepped forward, the internet froze. For nearly a decade, she had been seen as just Diddy's girlfriend, the background figure in a glamorous lifestyle. But her lawsuit, filed in late 2023, shattered that image completely. In a 35-page legal bombshell, Cassie alleged that Diddy drugged, beat, and trafficked her, sometimes multiple times a week. But it wasn't just abuse. According to her, it was ritualistic, a calculated routine. She described what she called freak-offs, intimate encounters Diddy allegedly forced her to participate in, often with strangers, while he filmed. These weren't private moments. They were orchestrated, documented, and allegedly used as leverage. She spoke of being given drugs to dull her resistance, of being beaten for trying to leave, and of nights where Diddy's mood could flip from charming to monstrous in seconds. The most harrowing part? She said he made her feel like she had no way out. That's a theme echoed in multiple accusations: control, power, and fear. But Cassie's voice was the first crack in Diddy's wall of silence, and once it broke, others started to come forward. Then, footage emerged. It wasn't just words anymore. Once the lawsuit hit the headlines, people expected a denial, a legal counter, damage control. What they didn't expect was undeniable proof. TMZ released surveillance footage from 2016, grainy, silent, but impossible to ignore. It shows Diddy in a hotel hallway at the Intercontinental in Los Angeles. Cassie is walking ahead of him. Suddenly, he runs, grabs her by the neck, slams her to the ground, and kicks her twice before storming off. She lies still, broken, motionless. No audio, no excuses, no more hiding. That one video flipped the trial on its head, because it backed up everything Cassie had been saying for years and destroyed the illusion Diddy had carefully built. The smiling mogul, the mentor, the empire builder, gone. Now all anyone could see was the violence, the control, the fear. And it wasn't just Cassie's word anymore. Hotel staff, security, anonymous insiders, they all started talking. Some said there were bribes offered to bury tapes. Others claimed cameras were routinely disabled when special guests were around. This wasn't a one-time outburst. It was a pattern, and that video was the crack in the dam. But if you think that was the worst of it, you're wrong, because what came next brought other victims into the light. And that's where Justin's name first got whispered. As the courtroom buzzed with shock, another name started circling online: Justin Bieber. At first, it seemed like internet noise. Old pictures, parties, rumors. People dug up throwback interviews, awkward red carpet moments, and unsettling clips of a much younger Justin being paraded around by older celebrities, including Diddy. One viral video resurfaced where Diddy brags about spending time with 15-year-old Justin, saying, "We're gonna go shopping, play some ball, and then maybe sleep over." Fans cringed, but it didn't stop there. Speculation exploded that Bieber might have been another victim of Diddy's alleged manipulation. Maybe not in the courtroom, but in the shadows. The kind of grooming that doesn't leave bruises, but leaves scars. People started asking hard questions. Why did Justin disappear from the public eye at times? Why was he constantly talking about trauma, faith, redemption, and needing to heal? Was there something more behind the breakdowns and retreats from fame? Then came the bombshell. A rep close to Bieber released a statement. Justin Bieber is not one of Diddy's victims, but he fully supports those coming forward and believes the truth needs to be told. Short, careful, but powerful. Because in just a few words, Justin confirmed two things. He's not involved in the court case, but he knows things happened, and he's choosing to stand with the victims. But was this just PR spin, or was it Justin's way of hinting at something darker without saying it outright? The silence spoke volumes. Justin's official statement was short, controlled, almost too clean. But sometimes it's not about what someone says, it's about what they don't. Despite growing up in front of the camera, Justin has always guarded certain chapters of his life. We've seen the highs, platinum records, sold-out tours, a global fan base, but we've also seen the breakdowns, the mysterious cancellations, the moments where he seemed completely lost. Back in 2020, he told Apple Music, "There were times where I was really, really suicidal, like I didn't want to live anymore." He blamed fame, pressure, addiction, but never names, never fingers pointed. And yet fans began noticing patterns, especially his early relationships with older, powerful men in the industry. Diddy was one of them. Usher was another. Mentors? Maybe. But mentorship shouldn't come with blurred boundaries, private jets, and sleepovers. And here's the thing. If Justin really had nothing to do with Diddy's darker side, why say anything at all? He could have stayed silent, denied everything, or ignored the headlines. But instead, he acknowledged the victims. He validated their trauma, and he distanced himself without throwing Diddy under the bus. That's not coincidence. That's calculation. Some believe it's part of a long-term plan, a quiet rebranding, a slow exit from Hollywood circles that once consumed him. Justin's been leaning into faith, marriage, and family. Less industry parties, more personal healing. Because maybe, just maybe, he saw enough to know what not to become. And in the background, more and more people were starting to tell their stories, some anonymously, some through lawyers. And suddenly, the courtroom was no longer the only place the truth was being revealed. What's become clear is this: Diddy didn't operate alone. This wasn't just one man's twisted lifestyle, it was a system. Whispers from insiders, former assistants, even hotel staff paint a picture of a tightly controlled operation. Luxury penthouses retrofitted with hidden cameras. Security guards paid to look the other way. Celebrity guests flown in for parties that went from glamorous to grotesque behind closed doors. Allegedly, Diddy had folders of footage, collected over years. Some say for control, others for blackmail. And the people involved, not just models or aspiring artists, but well-known names. Actors, singers, executives, people who had something to lose if the truth got out. Some are already facing quiet settlements. Others are keeping low profiles, suddenly stepping away from public events, or deleting old photos from social media. This isn't just about Diddy's fall, it's about a rotting tree whose branches run deep into music, fashion, and entertainment. According to courtroom insiders, some of the victims didn't even know they were being recorded. They thought they were in private until clips surfaced years later, edited and stored like trophies. That's why so many celebrities are staying silent, because it's not just about exposure, it's about implication. Who knew? Who stayed quiet? Who helped cover it up? And yet, amid the silence, a few voices, like Justin's, are starting to shift public momentum, not by revealing everything, but by refusing to defend the system. Because the deeper this goes, the more we realize Diddy may be on trial, but he might not be the only one who should be. As the trial unfolds, it's not just the accusations grabbing headlines, it's the spectacle surrounding them. Outside the courthouse, crowds gather daily. Protesters, supporters, paparazzi. Inside, the energy is volatile. Every new testimony triggers gasps. Every leaked clip floods social media. It's a courtroom turned stage, a drama playing out in real time with the world watching, and at the heart of that storm is Diddy's family. In a surprising move, his daughters have shown up at multiple hearings, sometimes wiping tears, sometimes stone-faced. To many, it's a show of support. To others, it's damage control. Because while Diddy faces federal charges, his brand, his businesses, his name, they all hang in the balance. He's already lost major sponsorships. K-Rock has gone silent. Revolt TV is scrambling. Even longtime industry friends are backing away. And it's not just about avoiding bad press, it's about self-preservation. When a ship starts sinking, rats don't just run, they vanish. Meanwhile, media outlets are feasting. Every clip, every whisper, every anonymous quote is spun into viral headlines. One former bodyguard, one disgruntled assistant, one unsealed deposition, and suddenly TikTok's flooded with Diddy exposed compilations. But behind the clicks and chaos is something darker. The real human cost. Victims reliving trauma, families torn apart, a legacy collapsing under the weight of secrets. And still, the trial isn't over. The final act is approaching. And what happens next could change everything. Not just for Diddy, but for the entire industry that protected him for so long. The trial is far from over, but the damage is already done. Whether or not a guilty verdict comes down, Diddy's world will never be the same. His empire has cracked, his reputation is radioactive, and the illusion of untouchable power in the music industry, gone. But maybe that's the real story here. Not just about Diddy's crimes, alleged or proven, but about the system that allowed them. The executives who looked away, the artists who kept quiet, the fans who saw the signs but didn't want to believe them. And yet, here we are. Testimonies, leaked footage, broken silence. Even Justin Bieber, once seen as Diddy's protege, has stepped out of the shadows, not to accuse, but to acknowledge. That alone speaks volumes. What's coming next? More witnesses, more revelations, possibly more names. And if insiders are right, the verdict may only be the beginning. Because the truth isn't just what gets said in court. The truth is what survives the spin, the cover-ups, and the silence. And now, it's out there. If you made it this far, you know this story runs deeper than anyone thought. Like, comment, and subscribe for updates as this trial unfolds. Because the next chapter might blow this entire industry wide open.